The latest Pompey news, updates every day from the Pompey Sound news desk.
Andy Cullen on the snap signing of Chaplin.
Connor's availability came rather late in the window, whereas the others we had been tracking for some time and were long-term projects. We were able to move pretty swiftly to bring him in. It was too good an opportunity to turn down. Over the summer, we have invested in transfer fees for a number of players. Extra wages have also been committed over what was spent last year. And I am really grateful to Michael and the board for allowing us to go and get one more, so to speak. What a signing it is too. It was in the last week of the window when this one became available, unlike the other three, which had been going on for some time. In fact, some of the signings we've been tracking since the window opened. But, like everything, you can't conclude this on the first day of the window. You have to be patient as the window unravels. Some things have to happen at other clubs before you can make things happen yourselves. There's a degree of being persistent, being patient, doing your due diligence, being reactive and, as we saw with Connor, being agile. When this opportunity came up, we went to them, the owners, about Connor, and pointed out, this was a Premier League player last season, so it was going to take some commitment to make it happen. I don't want to go into budgets, I never do, but it's one where we needed their support to make it happen. And I am thankful that, when we had that conversation, they agreed. We went through the different options, and they were hugely supportive, while they also know the player, which helps.
Yeah, it's a diverting bit of background, isn't it, to the whole Connor Chaplin story, a 24-hour story, maybe less than that even. It appears that Michael Eisner was out on the golf course or whatever, and got a phone call saying, can we afford to pay somebody, I don't know, £50,000 a week? I don't know, no idea. We never will know. We never know the percentage of a player's wages that is paid by the club that borrows him and the club that is his parent club. It may differ, it probably does. There's probably a kind of a ballpark standard percentage, but obviously it differs from case to case. And Connor, as was pointed out to the Eisners, who it appears knew him or got to know about him quite quickly, the Eisners were reminded themselves that he'd been playing Premier League football, not whatever it is, 18 months ago, something like that, and not looking out of place at all. Quite the opposite, actually, looking every inch a Premier League player, as much as a player who plays for a side that's relegated from the Premier League can look like a Premier League player. But I'm splitting hairs now. The point is his quality. And we've got him for a year, maybe until January. Let's really hope Ipswich do quite well without him, simply because that will enhance our chances of keeping him for the whole of the season, and wouldn't we love that? We noted yesterday on Pompey Sound that he's valued at £6 million, which is, in today's money, not an awful lot, but in today's money as far as Pompey and one or two other sides in the Championship that are being cautious when it comes to spend, it's a lot. It's a great deal. But the other thing that does interest us is this notion that Andy Cullen has that the Eisners knew about him. We know that Eric has taken an increasing interest in football, whether he keeps up with everything, that's to say whether he watches Match of the Day, basically, or not. Who knows? But they claim to be fully informed about him now before they made the decision on which of the packages to offer. It sounds as though they came up with a number of possible scenarios, not just possible loan players, could they afford them, were they worth those wages, but possibly a bunch of packages connected with the Chaplin case. It will be fascinating to know. We never will. We can only guess, speculate, finish our pint, go and order another one, and enjoy the fact that we've got Connor Chaplin.
Josh Murphy remains a Portsmouth player despite Leicester City's interest, but EFL analysis can exclusively reveal it was another club that came closest to signing him. The recently relegated Foxes had put in an offer for the ex-Norwich youngster, but reports since have stated they never offered anything close to what Pompey would have considered selling him for. Portsmouth fans were overjoyed when it was confirmed the 30-year-old was staying put at Fratton Park on deadline day, with the return of academy product Connor Chaplin on loan from Ipswich Town further boosting the mood on the blue side of Hampshire. But it turns out it wasn't Leicester who came the closest to signing former Oxford man Murphy. Murphy joined from Oxford United on a permanent deal last summer, signing on a 3-year deal with the option for an extension of a year. He played a key role in keeping Pompey up last term, scoring 7 goals and grabbing 14 assists in 42 league appearances. His form understandably attracted suitors, and EFL Analysis chief football correspondent Graham Bailey can exclusively reveal championship rivals West Brom made offers for him. In fact, Bailey says they were closest to getting him, and were ahead of Leicester in terms of winning his signature on deadline day. However, Portsmouth were pretty dug in and were not letting him out, with John Mousinho previously stating how important it was to keep his winger. Pompey fan favourite Colby Bishop has been starting up top for Mousinho, while Murphy, Adrian SEGECIC and Florian Bianchin have been sitting in behind him. Keeping Murphy will be vital for Portsmouth, as they look to do more than stay in the Championship in their second season back. The addition of Chaplin, a boyhood Pompey fan, behind Bishop will be an incredible addition to their forward line.
We'd love to know, wouldn't we, but never will, how much Leicester did offer, if they did indeed make a concrete offer. Don't know how that's couched, whether it's done live on the telephone or an exchange of emails or whatever, probably an exchange of emails. But it would be fascinating also to find out what was the nature of West Brom's interest. Did they pick up the phone and talk to somebody and then perhaps back that up with some emails? And if so, did they offer more, as is suggested in that piece by EFL? Did they offer more? And if so, how much more? These are the details that really football fans know we'll never know, but are still eager to speculate and to maybe argue in a friendly way amongst themselves about the likeliest way that these things unfold and then, of course, crash and burn, which is what happened with the whole Josh Murphy story. And we're darn glad that it did, because those balls that he pumps in fantastically, maybe half a dozen or a dozen a game. He gets to his fullback, he gives it a little touch, and he gets there first with his left foot because he's so quick with his feet. And across the grass as well. But also, we haven't seen much recently, as much as we'd like to, of him cutting back and having a go with his right foot. He scored a couple of nice ones for us, didn't he, last season? So let's hope he gets back into the groove of doing that as well. But what with John Swift and Connor Chaplin and, of course, Adrian SEGECIC, who's been a little bit quieter than he was in the first couple of games, but he's got the lot. He is the Duracell bunny. And, of course, we've always got the Bishop and we've always got Josh. Fantastic.
John Mousinho opened up about the decision to keep Ivan Boat at Portsmouth, despite the temptation to send the young defender out on loan for more playing time. The 22-year-old Fulham signing has had a rough go of it since arriving at Fratton Park last August. A freak training incident, taking an unopposed shot, led to a tendon tear in his right knee, sidelining him for 10 months. It was a devastating blow that wiped out his entire first season before he could even make his competitive debut. After what Boat described as a dark period of recovery, he's finally getting back on track. He featured in pre-season friendlies and made his long-awaited first appearance for Pompey in last month's Carabao Cup clash with Reading. Since then, though, game time has been limited to just 2 unused substitute appearances. While a deadline day loan move seemed logical to get Boat more minutes, Mousinho and his staff took a bigger picture view. With several centre-backs battling their own injury problems last season, Connor Shaughnessy, calf, Hayden Matthews, ankle, and Regan Paul, knee, all missing significant time, they weren't willing to leave themselves short at the back. We had to think carefully about Debane's situation, Mousinho explained. Yes, he needs games, but when you look at how injuries hit our centre-backs last season, having that extra coverage just made sense. We brought in Josh Knight to strengthen the position, but given our past experience, I wasn't comfortable taking the risk of letting someone go. The decision comes as Portsmouth wraps up a busy transfer window that saw 11 new arrivals, including deadline day signings Josef Bursic, Mackenzie Kirk, Franco Ume, and Connor Chaplin. The club had until 7 p.m. Monday night to submit their final 25-man squad to the EFL.
Yeah, you can only hope that the club don't have second thoughts about, well, they don't need to have second thoughts about the fact that we are now well stocked with centre-halves. The decision to keep Boat was, they obviously gave it due consideration, and we think they made the right decision because you can have too many centre-halves, obviously, but the number that we have got would mean that if we faced the same block of injuries in that position that we had last year. Remember, Shaughnessy, Matthews, Paul, Bowat, all out. I don't know whether all four were out at the same time. Feels like it, what with playing Conor Ogilvie and good old Marlon. And at the beginning of the season, Williams at centre-back. That's not a situation that we want replicated. Thank you very much indeed. We also don't want the coaching staff to get any kind of self-doubt going that they may be seen to have been overreacting because having two good centre-halves in front of you is obviously a goalkeeper's absolute priority, apart from being able to catch the ball yourself. And poor old Schmidt was deprived of that for a large part of last season, which, as far as he's concerned, means that he was performing even better, perhaps, than we realised and thought, playing with so many part-time centre-halves shielding his goal. So, Bowat stays. Let's hope he fully shakes off this injury. He doesn't seem to have done quite yet, and therefore he might not have been an easy loan proposition to send out there to get game time. You don't know. We can only guess. The fact that he came, had a little run out on the pitch, and then seems to have picked up some other kind of niggle, suggests that some people will be wondering whether he's a little bit injury prone. We hope not. It's the worst thing for a footballer. No, not the worst thing, but it's one of the worst things for a footballer to be labelled injury prone. And he mentions what a dark time it was from, and it must have been, because he's just up sticks and moved down this way. Obviously, he's still having to go in, even though he's not actually running around, to be checked up on, to have his diet monitored, to make sure that he is getting the right sort of exercises for the stage of recovery that he's at, week in, month out. So he's around. He's around Fratton Park, or the training ground, and not playing football. Possibly having to live away from home for periods of time. It must have been lonely, and it must have been a bit frightening, because when you're just starting out on your career and you think that you are so young, fit, strong, impervious almost to taking a knock, and then that happens. You go to kick the ball with nobody within a million miles of you. You presumably distend the joint by kicking it too hard or following through too hard or something. One day we might get the exact details if we're still interested. But a freak injury to incur before he'd even pulled on a Pompey shirt. Must have been dark times for him. And he appears to have survived them. And it will come across to him well that Pompey wanted to hang on to him. That's going to be another little boost for his self-esteem and his confidence, and perhaps lighten some of the dark.